Hi, everyone. Welcome to the RV Podcast. This is episode number 415.
And this week, we are going to meet a woman who earns her income renovating and then flipping RVs. And she's going to tell you how you can do the same thing. Well, hello everybody, I'm Mike Wendland, and this is my lifelong traveling companion and my bride, Jennifer, and we have been doing a lot of traveling this week.
That we have been.
And it's kind of nice to sort of decompress and spend a few days in our Sticks and Bricks home in Michigan and kind of go, except we can't. We've got things we got to do. Elkhart Open House is this week. We hope to pay a visit to that. We feel the Upper Peninsula of Michigan calling us. Mm-hmm. Fall colors are starting to show up there. We'd love to go up and spend a little bit of time there, as we usually do every year. And then, of course, we're getting ready for our big trip to Tennessee, the gathering at the Buffalo River, where we're going to have 100 or so people joining us in many of them in RVs, camping out with us, and then others staying in a hotel in Linden, Tennessee. And we've got just a great week planned for all of that. Now, the camping part is pretty much sold out, but there are some hotel rooms available, and through our friends at the Commodore Hotel, you might be able to find a spot or two where you can park an RV as well. If you want information, we'll put it on the screen for those of you watching on YouTube. We'll put it in the show notes for you on our RV Lifestyle travel blog. But if you go to rvlifestyle.com/Buffalo River, you can learn about that event. That's October 17th through the 20th. But it's coming up. We're going to have a lot of fun this week because we're going to learn the backstory of the woman who we interviewed in our YouTube video this week, Cortni Armstrong, the Flippin' Nomad.
Yeah, she has so much information to share with you about fixing up older RVs and selling them, or maybe just fixing up your own so that it makes it more your flavor, your taste.
So Jennifer does an interview with her in which we learn about how this all came about for Cortni, and at the end of the interview, she even gives a few hints about things that you can do for your RV. And she's even developed a course in which you can, that she'll walk you through the process of renovating an RV and flipping it. But she's one of our favorite characters. We met her a couple of years ago, and we've run into her several times around the country. So we thought we would introduce you to her. You'll hear her backstory in the interview this week. We urge you to look at the video on our YouTube channel, RV Lifestyle YouTube channel, where she shows us what she's done to renovate her RV, making it kind of the ultimate fifth wheel. We've never seen anything like hers.
No, I don't think you ever will either.
Yeah, it's amazing. So look at that video. But then the real fun thing for us is after we saw what she did with hers and learned about her skill, we asked you to come visit our fifth wheel and create for us a kind of a workspace where we could do some work in the RV. And she did that and more, and that'll be on our next Saturday video, the one that's coming up after this podcast. So listen to her podcast interview. I think you'll find her story interesting. That's coming up in just a little bit. Well, we got lots of RV news this week. You want to start us off?
Okay, that we do. This comes from Oregon, this news. It seems that we all know that campgrounds can get really crowded, and it's really difficult to find a place to camp in some locations, and it can be stressful, to say the least. But we were really shocked to read a story out of Oregon about campground piracy and literal fistfights as people fought over limited camping spots.
Campground piracy, where they're basically stealing your sites.
Yeah. What they do is, because of the lack of enough campsites to accommodate everybody who wants to camp, it's being blamed for this. That's called campsite pirates, who literally take a reservation tag placed by the ranger, remove it, and put a fake one in their name in its place. And this, needless to say, creates a lot of confusion and big messes at Sunnyside County Park Campground this season. And then another type of piracy that's going on is in Oregon is that it's first come campsites. You've all been aware of those. You get there first. That's your spot. First come,
served,
you get it. Well, literal physical fist fights broke out over spots as people argued about who got there first. And rangers have also been attacked. And apparently all these situations in Oregon have reached a boiling point. I don't know what they're going to do about that. There seems to be more campers than there are campsites.
It's kind of a reflection of just how nasty our culture is today. You see it on social media. Everybody is just out for number one. And in Oregon, it has been a mess. And I suspect this whole thing of campsite piracy has happened in other places around
I'm sure
the country.
it has.
You know, I think that's a reason why a lot of people, like we have done, are buying their own land and making their own RV retreats, so to speak. We've done it in Tennessee, Jen and I, and that's where that gathering we talked about earlier is going to take place. And I guess we can tell them that we have an offer in now and some property in Michigan. We'll tell you the details once that's cemented in. But that's been our solution. And we're still camping. We still have places we go. But that way we always know where to go. But man, what a mess.
I can see, everybody gets out of work or you get wherever you're going and it's first come, first serve. And then I was here first. No, I can see the confusion.
Oh, man. Yeah, so.
Not pleasant. Not a good way to start a vacation.
Well, everybody, as we're putting this episode to bed, this is being released on September 28th, 2022. All the talk is about Hurricane Ian, which is about ready to hit Florida. The question is where? Everybody's sort of scrambling. A lot of RVers, they actually go down there at the end of September and spend all that time. September and October are usually great months.
Oh, beautiful months for Florida.
But right now, as we record this podcast, it just became a hurricane, and they're predicting that it may be a Class 3 hurricane, maybe even higher as it hits landfall somewhere on the west side of Florida, between Tampa and the Panhandle. And right now, it's not entirely clear where that will be. We've had a couple of people send us email and post on our Facebook group asking, what do we do? How do you prepare? Well, follow what local officials say. And that could be evacuation. So remember, in high winds, your RV is much more vulnerable than a house or sticks and bricks building. So if you can avoid it, and you can, hook up your RV, and if you're in that cone of danger, get out of there. It's not worth, saying, oh, it's not going to hit. Move it.
I think it's safe to say 99% of the time it doesn't hit, but that chance that it might hit, it isn't fair that people have to come rescue you and sort through all because you didn't want to move.
Yeah.
A lot of people move, you don't have to, but better to move than
you have an RV. It's by definition able to be moved. So,
right.
So do that. Yeah.
Okay. And now we've got another story with a happy ending.
Yes, it's about time we had some good news.
Yeah, it's about a Utah family. They were celebrating the return of their dog, Toby.
Toby's back.
Yeah, he disappeared 2 months before that on a camping trip. And the poor 14-year-old dog had gotten lost while camping at Payson Canyon in July. And the family did their best. They spent 3 weeks using hound dogs and drones and trail cams and everything they could think of to try to find this dog. The family eventually went home brokenhearted, but they got a lead from a lost dog Facebook group. I didn't know there was such a thing.
Yeah. Several, actually, yeah.
Yeah, so thank goodness that there are lost dog Facebook group, and they found him. The dog was about 1.5 miles from where he had wandered off, was 30 pounds lighter, and was thrilled to see his owners.
He must have been a big boy.
Yeah, to lose 30 pounds.
Toby's back. It kind of happened to us once. We did a camp out with a bunch of folks with the TV station I was working at the time. And I don't know, we had 20 people, 30 people, maybe more.
I don't know. Was that one of the times we had like 45 people?
I don't know.
And
we used to
take
big
everybody,
campouts.
trying to make our kids happy, bring the whole village.
And this was up on the Rifle River, one of our favorite spots in northern Michigan. And one of our campers, Margie, lost her dog.
Dog
And
wandered off.
Just wandered off, and everybody waited. And on Sunday, going back to the city to work, and Margie was the last one there. It's still no sign of her dog, and there were a lot of coyotes in the area.
Yes, a lot of coyotes.
So everybody was worried. About 3 or 4 days later, Margie went back up there, and there her dog was sitting right where we had been camped, waiting for her.
Yeah, I had taken the food.
Yes, and left it out.
And left food there. So I guess found his way back and ate the food. Luckily, the coyotes didn't find it. Coyotes probably wouldn't eat that food, that processed dog food. They didn't want any part of it.
Yeah.
But I was considered brilliant for dumping the dog food out, and happy ending. They were reunited.
So there's one other story that I want to report, and it's tough for me to be unbiased about it, but I'll do well, I'm not going to really try because I can't help it. But the National Park Service is poised to once again require permits for anybody to film in national parks for anything that's considered, quote, commercial. According to the United States Court of Appeals, the District of Columbia, commercial videography on public lands is not protected by the First Amendment. Now, this is not a definitive decision, but it looks like it's going to take effect. And what it almost certainly means is that even bloggers like us who record on little tiny cameras or even on an iPhone in the very not too distant future, we're not going to be able to do that unless we go through this rather elaborate permitting process with the National Park Service. And even if you're just making a video and you're sharing it on YouTube, well, YouTube is a commercial platform. YouTube makes money from the videos that are on there, and many bloggers, run ads, profit a little bit from their videos. So the government says, that's a commercial project. You got to get a permit. So we thought that this issue was decided last year when the court disallowed that practice on First Amendment grounds. But earlier this month, the government appealed, and an appeals court reversed that, said permits can be required. So it's still got to go through a couple more processes, but the writing is clearly on the wall. And what does it mean? If you're a YouTuber like us, or if you just wonder why you're not going to see many national park videos on YouTube anymore, here's what the National Press Photographers Association, which obviously opposes the permits, here's what they have to say. When the decision takes effect, quote, anyone engaged in commercial filming on National Park Service land would be required to obtain a permit regardless of whether it's from an iPhone or a massive production. Rules for still photography won't change, and that is parks are not allowed to require a permit for still photography. So I guess we could go and take thousands of still pictures and then make them all blend into a movie, but and I kind of like that. I love still photography, but I don't know. I think for us, we will not be doing any videos in national parks going forward if a permit is required. And I think that that's going to be true of many other YouTubers and video bloggers. I think this is sad.
It's very sad because you think about it. You can take a still picture. A lot of people take still pictures and they sell them.
Yeah.
There's men. I better keep my mouth shut. They'll be after them next.
They will be. Yeah. So we'll leave the still photographers alone. Short-sighted. Absolutely. The original permit, when they talked about commercial, was generally applied to big production companies, where they came in with massive trucks and lights and, 5 or 6 dollies and, making movies, things like that. And I understand that. That certainly you'd expect because the whole place is being disrupted. The public can't go in. But government being government, let's get more. They extended that now to everybody, even mom and pop, grandpa and grandma videographers who want to shoot a video and maybe using their iPhone. So just short-sighted, stupid,
And they can
sad.
say, well, they're getting money for the national parks, but they're going to hire people. They're going to have all these people
it's a
regulating
bureaucracy.
this. Like you say, it becomes a big bureaucracy, and the parks really, I don't think, are going to benefit from this. If anything, they're going to be hurt a little bit because we won't be sharing all that there is to see, or everybody that does this sort of thing. Of course, they're not in want of people, but
Well, we shouldn't be surprised because
No.
we're dealing with the government and the federal government in particular, and we shouldn't expect anything halfway
Other than
intelligent.
micromanaging.
Other than just idiocracy. That's what they are. All right. See,
Enough.
I told you I couldn't hold myself in. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about renovating an RV and flipping an RV. So stay with us.
Tired of overcrowded campgrounds, competing for reservations, paying high fees for sites? Well, ownership is an emerging trend in RVing that might be right for you. It was for us. Jennifer and I bought some land just west of Nashville, Tennessee, in an incredible collection of mountaintop properties called the Woodlands at Buffalo River. These are 5 to 62 acre properties. Build a house, a cabin, outbuildings, or RV year-round, starting at $79,900. Your property, your way, 100% ownership, and the scenery is breathtaking. You can landscape, garden, bring your pets, build what you want to. There's high-speed internet, and it is so private. It's a great place to make your home base. No more calling around for reservations, ready whenever you want. They're selling these on October 8th by appointment, 5 to 62 acres from $79,900. Great financing and big discounts available on multi-lot packages. For information, visit myrvland.com. That's myrvland.com.
When we're asked what's the most important modification we made to our RV, it's an easy answer. Battle-Born batteries. Battle-Born batteries are quality, safe, reliable lithium batteries that allow us to stay out there off the grid longer. Lithium batteries charge faster, they charge fuller, they're longer lasting, they're maintenance free, and Battle-Born batteries are protected by a 10-year guarantee. Now, in our case, they just dropped into the existing AGM batteries that we have, and they'll probably be the same on your rig too. Battle-Born battery experts can get those in your rig just like they did with ours. They can also match you up with the right cabling, the inverter, the charger, the solar controller, everything. Jennifer and I swear by our Battle-Born batteries. They allow us to boondock off the grid. Check them out. Go to rvlifestyle.com/lithium. rvlifestyle.com/lithium.
welcome back. And now it's time for the interview of the week with one of our favorite people, Cortni Armstrong.
Cortni is known far and wide as the flipping nomad. And again, we want to direct you back. We'll put a link in the show notes at rvlifestyle.com to the video we just released on our YouTube channel, in which we get a tour of the Montana fifth wheel, 37 foot, I think it is, that Cortni has, that she had Keystone RV and a bunch of other sponsors who says, go ahead, just let your imagination, make it what you want. And so she did. It's the ultimate, one-of-a-kind fifth wheel. And we had a tour of it. You can see that video on our YouTube channel.
You should watch it. It's fun.
And at the end of that, we asked her, we looked at the workspace that Cortni had made, and we explained our problem in our fifth wheel, our 32-foot fifth wheel, and said, hey, would you come and tell us what we can do with that? And she did, and she even did a few little tweaks above and beyond what we asked that we were really happy with. And you'll see that in the next video we release on this on this following Saturday. But in the process of it, Jen sat down with Cortni and got to learn more about who she is and how she started this. And as you say, as we begin the interview, Cortni has a great backstory. So here's Jennifer's interview with Cortni Armstrong, the flippin' nomad.
Cortni, you have a great backstory as to how you became the flipping nomad. So can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so most people when they get into RVing, they have kind of a story that's almost out of a movie. They got fed up with life and sold everything and bought the RV and hit the road, and it's like some, fairy tale. And my story is actually very opposite of that. It started right at 8 years ago now. My dad had a stroke, and he had 2 businesses, but neither business was doing very well. So I had to drop everything and take them over. And I was basically living hand to mouth. Do I feed myself or do I feed my dog type situation? And it was pretty dire. And I found myself in desperate need of affordable housing. And a family friend turned me on to living in an RV, just stationary. I was not traveling. And so I moved into it basically as the only option that I could find. And at first I hated it and I was embarrassed about it, and felt like it was my rock bottom. And then a year went by and I had kind of fallen in love with the lifestyle, and I was like, maybe this isn't so bad, and maybe I could get my feet underneath of me faster if I continued to live in this affordable lifestyle. And so I said I would just really like an RV that feels like a bachelorette pad, because I was 25 at the time. Well, I searched high and low for something that felt as good as it felt to live tiny, and nothing fit the bill. And so I thought, well, I could renovate one, right? Like, I don't know, can you renovate an RV? And I did a quick Google search and nothing came up, but now I realize it's because nobody else was doing it at that time. It's a little bit different story now. And so I, got the courage up to renovate an RV for myself. And then 2 years went by and got everything settled with the family. And I said, okay, now it's my turn. What am I going to do with life? And I kept coming back to my buying experience. And I wondered if maybe other people didn't like the interiors either, and if maybe there was a business there. And so I tried the business, and then the business started taking off, fueled by social media. And then Keystone RV Company took notice, which was the shock of a lifetime. They watched online for several months, unbeknownst to me, and then they reached out in March of 2019, and they were like, hey, what you're doing is really cool, and we would love to be involved with you. So they said, what do you think if we pull a brand new Montana off the line and give it to you and give you a budget and tell you to go build the craziest thing you can come up with? And I was like, done, we're in it. Like, I didn't know any other details at that point. And so that's what we're sitting in now, is the brainchild of that. So to go from like, desperate for housing and nearly homeless to this, it's just been like the craziest story.
And now you are helping other people.
Yeah, I am. So we had a shop in Texas where we were doing renovations for people, and it got to the point that we just could not keep up, and we were just turning people away left and right. And so we're like, how could we get creative and help these people live out this lifestyle and this dream that they have in mind without actually building them their RVs for them? And so that's when the light bulb moment went off, where we could just create a course, where we infuse all of our years of knowledge into fellow nomads. And so that's what we did. Last year we took 4 months to film the course and get it up and going, and it took a little bit longer than we were anticipating, so it's still a little bit in the beta version right now. It's about 80% of the way done, but that's what we're focusing on this year is, in the next couple weeks, getting the course fully finished, and then we're going to be traveling the country and going to RV dealerships and shows and hosting in-person workshops, and so actually teaching people like hands-on if they can get to us, or if they can't get to us and want to do it on their own, then we have the courses that they can take.
Now I'm hearing we are.
Yeah, we're. So when I say we, it's actually my mom and I. So she's a partner in the business, and through the turmoil of, how I got into RVing, with the family breakdown, she ended up getting a divorce through that too. So she's kind of finding her footing, now in her 60s, and kind of reinventing herself too. So there's a lot of emotional ties, and depth, I guess you would say, that go along with RVing, and it's more than just kind of an interior design project for us. There's a lot that goes into it.
Okay, so this course is available, and we are going to link to it below. So what are some of the challenges that people have to deal with?
Yeah, it's a tricky line with renovating an RV, because at the end of the day, people want them to feel like a house, but they're an RV and they have to function like an RV. And, one of the biggest factor with RVing, especially renovating, is weight. Weight's kind of the name of the game with RVs. And so that's things that we walk people through. Like flooring, for example, is always kind of a hot topic, because in the residential world, people would use planks, 3 feet by 6 inch wide planks that kind of click together, and that's the entire flooring of the house. Well, if you did that in an RV, planks are extremely heavy, so you're going to annihilate your carrying capacity like right off the bat just with that flooring. And then also the RV goes through temperature fluctuations and also vibrations on the road, and so with so many joints in the flooring, you run the risk of something happening. So that's why we choose to work with sheet vinyl, which is what this flooring is, and that's also what all the manufacturers use. So it's a wash for flooring, but that's just one example of the differences between residential renovating and RV renovating.
What do you do with the furniture? Where can you find it? Do you help people?
Yeah, so we have, I don't typically do any like one-on-one coaching with students, but we do, like, we have infused everything into the course. If they are wanting to update furniture, what are their options? You know, they can either update or, you know, slip cover what they already have, or if they want to replace entirely, we actually just use residential furniture. And I will say that it is kind of tricky, especially sofas, to find sofas that can fit in an RV, because most residential sofas are like 98 inches and standard in RVs is about 72 inches. So it is a little tricky to find pieces, but at least with furniture, we do use residential options for those.
All right, so what I want to do is look at what you have done because you work out of this. I want to see what your office looks like. And then I'd like to see if you'd come over and look at our RV and see what's possible with mine so I can edit and work out on the road.
Well, let's go look at my office.
All right. I see it down there.
So,
I've been actually looking at that all the time you're talking to Jennifer. I'm saying, okay, I need something like this. So you have like a real desk.
I do, yeah. This is just a desk that I bought online. Just to kind of get version 1 of this space done. Now I am going to be redoing it at some point, so I'll do version 2, something that fits my configuration a little bit better. But yeah, standard desk. It is mounted into the wall, so I don't have to worry about packing it at all on a travel day. And then for the chair on a travel day, all I do is just lay it flat on its back, and it just slides under the desk, and no problems there. And then I had enough room for a little storage console over here too.
Let's go look at mine, and maybe you can give me some ideas and help me figure out where I can get it done.
Let's do it.
I hope you enjoyed that interview as much as we did. Courtney and her mom just are working together, having fun, and making the world a more beautiful place.
You know, we didn't share this about Courtney. Courtney, before all this, she was a professional driver, truck driver, that hauled RVs that, you know, for RV dealers. She would drive them from place to place. So I say that because with great envy, I watched her whip her truck in, hook up that fifth wheel, and move it on out in like 2.5 minutes. I mean, you know, if you see me, I'm backing up, I'm adjusting.
Versus 2 hours.
And she also, at one of our gatherings we had in Elkhart this summer, did a driving school, and just helped so many people learn how to be more confident as they drive their RVs. But where her passion with her mom is in renovating RVs and flipping them. And again, we'll put that link to her course, and you can find out more about her at theflippinnomad.com. Courtney Armstrong. Come back and watch the video on Saturday, and you can see what she did with our Arcadia fifth wheel. We had a lot of fun with it. All right, when we come back, question of the week, and some very straight talk to kind of take away the stardust from one would-be RVer's eyes. So stay with us.
When we're on a road trip, we always seem to find a way to stop at a Camping World center. There are over 225 Camping World locations across the country, and there's always one close by when we need parts and accessories for our RV or just want to shop. In fact, we have so much fun with Camping World, and as we talk about it as one of our sponsors, they have agreed to offer a 10% discount if you use the coupon code RVLifestyle10 when you buy $99 or more in merchandise. You'll find everything you want, from outdoor furniture and appliances, the ones you see us use in our videos and that we talk about here in the podcast. RV extras that include everything from camping chairs to fire pits, electrical accessories, must-have gadgets. Check them all out. And again, don't forget, use the coupon code RVLifestyle10 when you visit campingworld.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Time now for our questions of the week. And this question, we're going to do one of them this week. And it's from one of our followers named Joe.
Okay, Joe says, pick up my RV on Tuesday. I have no experience with them, so hoping to learn as much as possible. What led me and my wife to do this is actually felt called to go to Bible college. So we are in the process of selling everything and living in an RV full-time as we move to Florida to get prepared for ministry. Thank you for this email. We do have 2 little dogs, so appreciate the immediacy for the information.
Well, Joe, we got a couple of problems with what you say. Number one, you say you have had no experience with an RV.
That makes it a little bit tough to sell everything you have and move into an RV full time. I think I'd be a little weary of that if I'd never traveled in an RV, to sell everything and move into it.
I can tell you that in our 10 years of this and meeting many, many people and having many people talk about this, very, very rarely do we see anybody jump into full-time RV living with no experience in an RV that it doesn't end poorly, either in quitting or selling or whatever. Now, I applaud you that you feel called to go to Bible college, and that's a great thing to do. But you need to get your feet on the ground. You're doing, I think, something very foolish in just quitting everything and jumping on a full-time RV life when you don't know what it involves. So don't sell your house, and don't sell everything. You can sell some stuff. A couple things make me that I have to assume. I don't know what kind of an RV you're getting, but I just am reading between the lines. I would guess that you're getting a used one or an old one. Do you realize how much an RV breaks? How much maintenance costs, Joe?
And you have to have some property to put it on.
So I don't know, do you have a place in Florida? Have you found a spot? Have you gone and physically looked at it? Have you stayed on it for a week or two to see if this is really where you want to live? Do you have kids? I don't know, but that certainly would, cause another problem. Does your wife have some income to help you with that? So I'm not going to get into the fact that maybe God called you to this. He certainly wouldn't have you go to Bible college without calling you to do that. But what I do question is selling everything to go full time into the RV life without trying it out. And by trying it out, we mean don't spend 2 weeks and say, "Oh, that was fun." You need to spend a few months to find out what's involved with it. So many people have been sold this dream of full-time RVing by irresponsible YouTubers who are out, gallivanting around the country. Most of them end after just a couple of years. They don't stay very long because it's not what they thought, and suddenly reality hits. And Joe, that's going to happen to you unless you know exactly what you're getting into. And the way you do that is by living in an RV for a significant amount of time. RVs break. They're not really meant to be lived in full time, although, a quality RV, you can. You need to know some maintenance on that RV. You need to have a budget. When you drive an RV down the road, it's like subjecting it to a 6.0 earthquake. If that sounds too harsh, maybe a 4.0, but it wears and tears. So it's going to break. Things are going to go wrong with that. You're going to need to repair it. And if you need major repairs, if this is an older RV and you need major repairs, where do you live while this thing is in the shop? These are all the issues that you need to work through. And in just the tone of your several sentences there, I don't think you've done that. I don't think he's done
I don't know what to say other than you're taking a big leap.
Yeah, and I wouldn't call it a leap of faith. You need some wise counsel here, and you really need to think this through. By all means, follow your dream, follow what you think is your calling, but do so in a responsible way, which means understanding a little bit what you're going to do, the change and the challenges that come with RV living.
It's hard to answer this without knowing their finances, how
Yeah.
much money they have in the bank, and how old they are, how long they've had to save money. His wife, or perhaps Joe, will even work.
Yeah. So
While he's attending college.
so maybe you have all this stuff lined up. I didn't see that in between the lines. So
good luck.
Yeah, and share, Joe, what happens. We would love to hear what happens. I'm sure this will bring a lot of comments from other people as well, but just let us know what you decide, how it's working out for you, and we hope that it's all a great decision. But give it a try for a while and ease into it. It's also kind of a rough time to sell a house with the way interest rates are going and the way the economy is being attacked with inflation, and it's tough to make big decisions like that when there's so much uncertainty out there. We wish you luck, and I know many people will have some comments on this, and I hope I didn't take the gleam out of your eye about the RV living, but you do need to know those things we talked about. Hey, do you have a comment? Do you have a question? Something you'd like us to address on the podcast? All you have to do is send us a note. Our email address is mikeandjen@rvlifestyle.com. And that's this week's episode. Thank you so much. Don't forget, on Saturday on our YouTube channel, we'll have that new second part interview with Cortni Armstrong, where she'll show you some of the tweaks and redesign things she did with our fifth wheel. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Happy trails.